Help! Is anyone there? Ugh.
Kata.
I can't. Please. No!
Were thrown 10,000 years back in time today, what could you, as a modern human, actually offer to the people of this era? What technologies could you truly recreate using nothing but your memory of a world you left behind? Take a long look at your hands. If you have survived the first weeks in this world, they are no longer the hands of a modern citizen. They are covered in river silt, scarred by flint shards, and thickened by the raw weight of the earth. You have mastered fire. You have learned the alchemy of clay. You have even secured the ritual of clean water. But now you have hit a wall made of stone. This is the curse of the Stone Age. Stone is hard. Stone is sharp. But stone is brittle. It is dead. One wrong strike against a hardwood trunk and the tool you spent 3 days napping becomes a pile of useless shards. The Stone Age is an era of disposable things. It is an intellectual prison, where every mistake resets your progress back to zero. You aren't building a future, you are just delaying the inevitable collapse of your tools. If you are building the civilization with me, subscribe. Knowledge is the only thing we brought back from the future. To break out of this prison, we need a material that can be broken, but never destroyed. A material that has a memory. Today we stop hunting animals and start hunting the green sickness of the earth. We are looking for a stone that can become a liquid. We are looking for the birth of metal. You walk along the riverbed, scanning the ground not as a gatherer of berries, but as an engineer of atoms. You are looking for an anomaly of color that shouldn't exist in a world of brown and gray. And there it is. A vibrant green stain on a weathered granite outcrop, Malachite. To a primitive mind, this is just a pretty stone for a necklace. Hydrated copper carbonate. It is a microscopic fortress where copper has been locked away by oxygen and carbon for millions of years. A simple campfire won't help you here. Open flames are a chaotic waste of energy. 90% of your heat escapes into the cold night sky before it can do its work. To release the metal, we need to move beyond heat. We need to perform a chemical heist. Metal doesn't just melt because it's hot. We have to force the oxygen that holds the copper captive to let go and bond with something else. That something else is carbon monoxide, the invisible byproduct of burning charcoal in a confined space. We aren't just heating a rock, we are negotiating with the molecules of the earth. Every degree of temperature is a walk on a razor's edge. Too little heat and nothing happens. Too much oxygen and the copper simply burns away into green smoke. We are playing a game of high-stakes chemistry with tools made of mud and wood. Look at these green stones. Would you recognize the future hidden inside them? Or would you just walk past? Tell me in the comments if you think you could find raw ore in the wild without a search engine. The construction of the furnace begins not with fire, but with a recipe. We need our prehistoric concrete, a specific mix of refractory clay, river sand, and finely chopped straw. We are building a bloomery. This isn't the pottery kiln from our last episode. This is a high-performance engine. It is a vertical shaft, a chimney of power. The walls must be thick enough that you can hold your hand against the outside while a literal hellscape rages inches away on the inside. We are using the double wall principle we perfected earlier, creating a thermal prison that refuses to let energy escape. But there is one detail that changes everything: the tuyas. These are clay tubes built into the base of the furnace. Through these veins we will pump the soul of the fire oxygen. Without a forced draft, we will never cross the threshold of 1085 Celsius. Natural air isn't enough, we have to weaponize the wind. Now, the fuel. Regular wood is a lie. It contains too much moisture and too many impurities. We need charcoal, pure carbon, and energy concentrate. We have spent days carbonizing wood in a pit, and now every black lump represents an hour of our lives. We charge the furnace in layers: charcoal, crushed ore, charcoal, crushed ore. We are creating a reactor where every joule of energy is forced to pass through the malachite, stripping away its impurities and leaving behind the pure red essence of the earth. The night becomes a spectrum of data. Your eyes learn to see not just flames but temperature itself. A dull cherry red means 600 Celsius. A bright orange means 800 Celsius. But for copper we need more. We need the blinding, incandescent white heat that sears the retina. This is a physical marathon. You cannot simply walk away or go to sleep. If the fire dies down for even 5 minutes, the metal will freeze inside the slag, and you will be left with nothing but a lump of useless iron-hard trash. You have become a slave to this machine for the next 12 hours. You are 8 hours in, and this is where most people would fail. It's not just about the heat anymore. It's about the battle against oxygen. You see, copper has a jealous nature. Even as it melts, it wants to bond back with the air, turning into a useless black crust called oxide. To prevent this, you have to maintain what engineers call a reducing atmosphere. Inside this clay tower, you are creating a world without oxygen. If you pump too much air, you cool the furnace and burn the metal. If you pump too long without adding fuel, the chemical reaction reverses. You are performing a high-wire act with no safety net. By the 10th hour, the physical reality sets in. Your modern body wasn't built for this. Your shoulders are a knot of fire, and your hydration is gone. This is the great filter of human history. It wasn't just about knowing how to melt metal. It was about having the raw, brutal will to sustain the process. You start to doubt the stones you found. Was it really malachite, or did you spend 3 days building a monument to a mistake? Out here, there is no undo button. There is no technical support. There is only the furnace and your ability to read the color of the smoke. If you miss the transition from orange to white heat now, the last 10,000 years of human progress will remain just a dream in the dirt. The slag, the liquid glass made of impurities, is starting to flow. It's a sign that the transformation is reaching its peak. It's time to push past the pain. Your back screams from the constant pumping of air. Your eyes sting from the acrid smoke of the carbon reduction. But suddenly you see it. From the top of the furnace, the smoke changes. It isn't gray or black anymore. It is a haunting, ghost-like turquoise. This is the copper. These are its vapors. It is a signal that the stone has finally surrendered. The oxygen molecules are tearing themselves away from the malachite and burning off, leaving the copper free to trickle down through the charcoal-like liquid blood. You are dancing on the edge of chaos. Too much air and you oxidize the metal back into slag. Too little and you lose the heat. You are the governor of this ancient engine. 12 hours of smoke, sweat, and agony. Is a single drop of metal worth this price? I'll be in the replies. Let's discuss the true cost of human progress. The morning arrives cold and gray, but your furnace is still radiating a fierce, dying heat. It is time for the autopsy. It feels like an act of vandalism, but it is the only way forward. You destroy the walls you spent 2 days building. You rake through the white-hot charcoal and the cooling glass-like slag. And there, in the very center, where the heat was a miniature sun, you see it. A small, heavy, reddish-gold nugget. It doesn't look like stone. It doesn't look like mud. It looks like it belongs in another world. Listen to that sound. That is not the dull thud of raw clay. That is the ring of a new era. You take a stone and strike this nugget. A rock would shatter. Pottery would crack. But the copper simply flattens. It yields to your will. You'll have just changed the molecular structure of the planet with your bare hands. You have created a material that did not exist in nature in this pure, concentrated form. In this moment you stop being a scavenger. You become a master. You have laid the foundation of industry. You have proven that a modern mind can bridge a 10,000-year gap in a single night. This bead of copper weighs only a few grams. It is soft. It is beautiful. I won't replace your stone axe for heavy labor, not yet. But it represents the end of nature's total authority over you. You have unlocked the liquid stone. Field notes, material, look for the green thickness of the rocks. Malachite is your key. Flow, heat without chemistry is just warmth. You need carbon to steal the oxygen. Patience, metal does not tolerate shortcuts. 12 hours of preparation are worth 1 second of triumph. Copper is only the beginning. It is too soft to conquer the world. To build an empire, we need an alloy. We need a partner for our copper. We need tin. We need bronze. The Bronze Age is next. Don't stay in the Stone Age. Join the journey. See you at the forge.